Okay, then welcome to this deep dive today on the topic of healthy confidence. I chose this topic because it is something that comes up again and again in different ways and has come up for myself recently, again, more strongly. And I wanted to just share what I found for myself, share my thoughts, and then continue discussing together this topic that um, many people have a potential to improve in. So for me, the very first thing is understanding confidence can help. It can help to understand confidence if we look at what confidence is not or not necessarily. So for me, confidence is showing up, believing in myself in different situations, believing in my capacity, believing in my ability, believing in my love, believing in myself. And it is not necessarily showing that. It is about what is internal. That's the first layer. That is the most important. It is about how I feel about myself. It's not necessarily how I behave, although there are correlations. It is not necessarily what I say, although again, there are correlations. But it is primarily about how I feel. And from that feeling can come certain behavior, certain things that I say and don't say, certain things that I do and don't do. Certain ways of thinking about myself or not as well, right? So I think sometimes when we talk about confidence, it's contrasted potentially with cockiness or being very, very egoistic, ego-centered. And that for me is the outer appearance of what could come from confidence, but potentially with a lack of the confidence. So the external, I what I always look at for myself is I want the internal to be there, and then potentially the external can come. But the external, the portraying myself as, should be a reflection of as I am and not as I want other people to see me. So cockiness can um, can be exaggerating this internal thing, this internal feeling that I have. Uh, when I show up very egoistically or egotistically, that can also be an exaggeration or just a faking of what is not present actually. So confidence is about what is internal. And from that comes different things, can come different things, like positive self-talk, like uh, not feeling anxious in social situations, for example, um, and so on. For me, confidence is, in theory, a relatively simple construct because for me, it goes hand in hand with authenticity, meaning that the more authentic I can be, authentic meaning I see myself as I really am, I present myself as I really am, the more confidence I can build. Why that? Because confidence is about a feeling that I have about myself. And from there can come actions and behavior and things that I say, right? So when I act authentically, then that is a representation of having the external that mirrors the internal, right? There's no faking, there's no exaggeration of any kind. And it is not the same as confidence, but it shares that the external and the internal are aligned, right? what I say, what I do is aligned to how I actually feel inside. I'm gonna give a short example of that where we can see confidence and authenticity being present. Now, I'm not always confident. I'm not always 100% authentic, but in this situation, I think I was. So that was years ago. I was invited to a meetup in a bar, and there were lots of international people. Some people I knew, others I didn't. Most of them I didn't. And I walked in and I looked around and I felt a bit overwhelmed. I felt like there was this thought in my head like, oh, now you have to talk to people. Now you have to, you have to be social now. If you just stand here, because I was standing there for a second or two, you're gonna look awkward. And then luckily I was aware in that moment. I said to myself, I can choose what I want to do. I don't have to follow that thought that just popped up. And I acted authentically because in that moment I did not feel like being social. Yes, I went to a social gathering to meet up, to meet people, to talk to people. But in that very moment, I did not feel like it. So I accepted that authentically. My inner display aligned with the outer. Inside, I had the feeling of I don't want to talk right now. Outside, I didn't talk to anybody. And in that sense, I was authentic. And I was also maybe not 100%, but 60, 70% confident in just standing there without bombarding myself with questions of, oh, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, this is really weird. No, I was just standing there, like, this is okay. I'm okay. I'm being authentic. This is what I feel. This is what I do. It's fine. So the authenticity and then the acceptance of myself, I think, um, created that confidence in myself. The confidence of I'm here, I'm aligned with myself, I'm doing what I'm doing, that's fine, right? And it is a type of confidence that is not, it's not pushed in that sense. I'm not forcing myself to be confident. It comes the other way around. I'm being authentic, I'm being accepting of myself, and through that, I become confident. Now, I'm going to give you another example, and then we talk about a challenge that comes with this way of confidence. I actually wrote just a couple of days ago on Telegram something um, that relates to me being on stage. So I've spoken on stage, and in the beginning, just in front of a group, I would become nervous. A couple of years ago, I would become nervous. Teaching my students, I would become nervous sitting in or standing in front of 20 people, right? And um, I noticed 2 months ago when I was on stage, on a big stage in front of like 600 people, that there was not a lot of nervousness. There was some excitement, but there was not this nervousness of, I'm gonna freak out or I'm shaky or my brain becomes foggy, I don't know what to say. I was on there and what I told myself was, I'm gonna be myself. And that's it. I'm going to be myself. Yes, I have a mission. I'm here for a reason, but I'm going to focus on being myself, being who I actually am, and not portraying any kind of fakeness. So if I get up there and I don't know what to say, I can accept that, right? The internal, not knowing what to say, mirrors the external, not saying anything, for example, or saying I don't know anything, don't know what to say. And that has really helped me because I was on stage. I um, did not have a line by line script prepared. I had a couple of points that I wanted to talk about, and I talked. I talked probably for 20 minutes. And it was great. I was feeling great. The audience appreciated it. And the confidence that I felt again came from being authentic. The internal matches the external, and accepting how I was feeling, right? So instead of saying, oh, I have to push myself to do this over and over again so it becomes more natural to be on stage. I mean, that can help for sure. But I think the way I did it was actually a shortcut of saying, I'm gonna go on stage and I'm just gonna fucking accept whatever shows up in myself, accept the feelings that might show up, and accept that I might blank, accept that uh, I could even faint, you know, it's fine, no problem. So saying that, and reflecting on that, it became clear to me that this conception of confidence that I have really has to do with acceptance. So I become confident by becoming accepting of myself. And it doesn't really matter what kind of situation I'm talking about. It can be being on stage, it can be uh, networking, it can be being in any kind of new situation. If I accept myself fully, then I'm going to be confident. Not cocky, but confident in the sense of my internal matches the external, and I'm okay with that. Now, one thing that when I was going through my notes to prepare the session that came up for me was like, yes, but then I don't really challenge myself, right? Like I could challenge myself to do things that I know are gonna be uncomfortable. Like, let's say I haven't spoken in front of a group ever, and I directly go onto a stage in front of 10,000 people, maybe. So I think there's room for challenging myself. I think I like challenging myself, and even if I cannot show up 100% confident, I can still show up 100% authentic. Now, not confident because I'm maybe not fully accepting how I show up. I might want to show up better, more grounded, or more persuasive, or whatever. But I can show up fully authentic, and then through that experience, hopefully, the next time be more accepting of how I am, and also improve how I show up. Notice what went well, what didn't, and by that improve myself through challenge. So I challenge myself. I'm not fully confident, but I am, as much as possible, authentic, meaning inner matches outer, but I'm not 100% accepting of how I'm feeling in the process or what's going on in the process. And with that, I actually want to stop my monologue. And for those who are listening to the recording, and also for you guys being here live on the call, maybe we can reflect on the questions of, can you imagine using this concept of confidence in your life, and what would it mean? What would it mean to be authentic? What would it mean to accept yourself? And perhaps what area do you think it would be most rewarding to invest your energy into accepting yourself more? And with that, I'm going to stop the recording. And if you watch the recording, please let me know in a comment what you think.